oh my god, this movie's so good.
Mortal
Kombat's so awesome.
I am literally the Oreo in this situation of Mortal Kombat references.
I mean, yeah. Hey, welcome to the Experience Point. Today we have a very special guest.
It's the shark.
It's all of these sharks.
It's all of the sharks. It's only ever the sharks.
So you know me. I am Andrew.
Driana.
You know Driana. This is Rosette. She is very ninja'd. And if you can't tell by the ninja masks, which are COVID COVID safe. Compliant is the word I was looking for. And all this Mortal Kombat stuff. And all this Mortal Kombat stuff. And all the Mortal Kombat stuff in my heart. This week was the 25th anniversary of the Mortal Kombat movie.
Jazz hands.
Which is still the best video game movie of all time. And you can at me. And you might be right.
Enter the special effects of like, yeah!
I'm not adding anything. So the reason why we wanted to have our friend here on is because you also, alongside me, have been a Mortal Kombat fan to some extent. Yeah. From a very young age, from a problematically young age to be starting Mortal Kombat. What was the first game that you played in the series?
Probably it was Mortal Kombat 2 for the Sega Genesis.
Okay, same.
So I remember getting it for Christmas, and we had that game and Eternal Champions, which we talked about.
Yeah,
a bit.
we talked about that. We're gonna have to do. We have a segment called Experience Share, where it's basically just like gush about something that you love.
Oh my gosh!
It's the best when the other people have no idea what it is or have very little experience, because it's just like you're just taking all this stuff in and just like you just get to be passionate and just kind of like. So I would love for you to be like, here's why I like this, and then we can play it.
Yes.
The Sega is still hooked up from when we played Mortal Kombat last time. Yep. I think you said in our MK11 video.
Don't speak for me. Ask me a question.
That was the start of the question. I think you said the answer to this question in our MK11 video. But what was your first Mortal Kombat experience?
The actual answer is I don't fucking remember. Because I was too young to be actually playing a Mortal Kombat game.
It's one with the fighters, right? Where like you fought each other and some blood stuff
with
happened.
The Hadoukens and
something along those lines. But
the punches and the kicks.
Something along those lines.
Okay. That one.
But like I was too young to play it, as probably all of us were.
Yep.
And when I was younger, my problem was I was more so of a moocher than an owner of video games. So I didn't really own my own system until like Nintendo 64, which was a little bit early on, but like I didn't have the privilege of having every single system. I just had the Nintendo. And I definitely played Mortal Kombat before the Nintendo. I can't pinpoint it, but based on us going through like a slew of Mortal Kombat videos, I was like, it's probably either 2 or 3.
Yeah. They were around the same era, so it was sprites.
Yeah,
it was old school.
It was sprites, old school, not at my house, not my system.
Yeah.
I just remember it being bloody and fighting and weird and not a Nintendo game.
Yeah. Well, it got so popular that they decided to make a movie. And you hadn't seen the movie until 9. Roughly when MK9 came out, so 2011, 2012. But you saw the movie very early on.
Very early, yes.
Same. And I remember you saying, I was like, did you ever see the Mortal Kombat movie? And you're like, are you kidding me? And my brother and I used to watch it like every single day. I'm like,
we can quote that
same.
thing.
When did it come out though?
90.
I think it's 5 or 6.
I want to say.
Oh, so I was
I did the math that I was around 6.
I was barely a concept.
I'll have to look. Maybe it's on the tag of this. I have a original Mortal Kombat the motion picture hat that even has the New Line home video tag. Nope, 100% cotton, made in Taiwan.
All right, that's helpful.
That's all we know.
That's my favorite year.
But I don't know if this is like a piece of actual like movie memorabilia museum worthiness, but I don't know if like the production team gave it out or anything, but I have one now, so that's kind of cool.
Do you wear it?
I don't, because my head's too big for it.
He wears it today.
See, I wear it today. I wear my hat slightly crooked. It's kind of my thing. Or way too far back. Or backwards.
Or a Pokemon
No, if we're
Are
gonna
you
be-
trying to like channel the 1995
I was gonna
energy?
say, if we're talking 90s stuff, you gotta have the little bit of
Yeah.
the hair coming through, like Goofy
Poking
movie.
out. Yeah.
I need sunglasses and a skateboard. Sunglasses, not,
It's all I
not
got. It's
aesthetic.
all I got, man.
Anyway, now that my hair's messed up for the video, our podcast listeners are gonna be like, "What is even happening?"
Our podcast listeners are gonna wonder why we're clipping the mic so much.
Hey,
That's fine.
that can be edited.
Turn it down just a smidge.
Okay.
Okay.
We're very passionate people.
So yeah, I feel my gray hair coming in saying this, but 25 years ago, well, obviously it was 95 because it's the 25-year anniversary.
That's how
Math.
Look at that.
We all are artists, so clearly right or left brain things are not our specialty. I mean, one of us is in a very smart, I don't want to say too much, but in a very smart field as their job, and the other two are artists and graphic
Are
design.
you saying my job's not smart?
No, I'm just saying
You're
we went to the
just
same
You're
art.
digging yourself in a hole right now. I just stopped.
We went to the same art school, so I know that we're not good at math.
Wow. Anyway, so about that Mortal Kombat and how I'm basically the same age as this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is probably why you didn't see it right away. We were like 4 or 5
Yeah.
watching
You're
it,
like
like
14, so like...
no, not 1995.
Yeah.
So
It's just because you're so youthful and beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
you didn't see it in theaters, did you?
No, I just remember having the VHS.
Yeah, same. I should have put I think I have the VHS still somewhere, and the
course you
DVD
do.
and the Blu-ray. The first time I saw it was actually at a friend's house. They were having a sleepover. We did a double feature movie. We watched, for some reason, like these are maybe 10 years apart, maybe exactly, but we watched the Transformers, the movie,
Okay.
where Optimus Prime dies. Spoiler alert, from 1985.
I like how spoiler it came after.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
good job.
And then, so that ruined me because I was never super into Transformers, but still seeing Optimus Prime die on screen, I was like, whoa, what? And they kill off a bunch of characters in that. But so that messed me up. And then we watched Mortal Kombat right after that. In the very opening scene, when Shang Tsung steals Liu Kang's brother's soul and then turns into the skeleton thing.
Yeah.
I probably didn't sleep that night because it freaked me out so much. But I loved it, and from then on, I was just like the cool martial arts and all the nonsense. I was like, it's like the games come to life.
And I'd say maybe people disagree with this, but I really think the effects with that were really good.
Yeah, like some of it still holds up. The
Yeah.
skull thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. The reptile.
All right,
like,
let's not talk about
kinda whatever. Maybe
You know
not
what?
so much.
Our 4 to 5-year-old brains thought it was awesome.
Oh, it blew my mind. The
Oh,
whole
yeah.
invisible thing because I had played 2, even though this movie is like the first tournament, so it's technically MK1.
Mm-hmm.
I was still like going from sprite art to live action
yeah.
was like the coolest thing to me. And just like it
I'm just
oh,
listening.
I thought you were like gonna disagree. You look like you were
Wrong.
trying to.
Incorrect.
Well, here's where you're wrong.
No, I'm not
Pushes
ready to
up
challenge
glasses.
you yet.
Oh. I'm just kind of going through my first experience with it. It set up a movie or a music taste for me that I'm still into, which is like industrial, like techno metal. So like KMFDM and like even Rammstein, like they were all on that sound. I heard that soundtrack was the first EDM based album to go platinum. I think the soundtrack to the first
cool.
movie. Which
Did not know that.
I have to like fact check that, but I remember reading that somewhere and I'm like, that's kind of cool. What was your reaction the first time you saw it?
Who are you
Okay.
looking at?
Either of you.
You look
I mean,
at
I know
me,
what yours
and
was
then
because you were with
looked
me.
at-
I will start. So, coming from only playing like Mortal Kombat 2 on the Sega, there wasn't really a story. But like, I of course got attached to the characters you're playing with
Yeah.
because like you pick a character that is like your character. You learn everything you can with them.
Sub-Zero forever.
We can talk about this one later. For me, at the time, it was a combination of Katana and Melina. So then this.
I wonder why.
Well, Melina,
Well, this is not
Melina.
pink, so
I know.
Yeah,
this is
where's
the
your
wrong-
Melina one?
We don't have a Melina
They didn't make one.
where's your Katana one painted pink to be Melina?
We were gonna paint
Or
it green for her for Jade.
Okay,
but
so we need that 2, and you can paint Jade, and I'll paint
And then
Melina.
we'll bring you over and we'll just record you painting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun. But anyway, the movie, like, it brought in the lore that I apparently missed from the arcade versions, like, that I didn't see,
It's
and it was
very
really
light.
cool. And, like, it made me like the game even more, because I'm like,
Yeah.
now I have something to pair with this random fighting game, like,
Mm-hmm.
that is maybe a little bit more violent than anybody realizes I was playing at the time, but I didn't know
Parents
that it was
didn't really
too
pay
violent.
attention to their children's video games. They're like, oh, all video
I
games
think-
My
are the
mom
same.
I think there was some trust that the video games that you were making for children probably weren't as violent as they were, just because they were new. Like, think about the video games before. So, like, I know my parents had Atari, and they were playing Pac-Man, so when they get us a game system, they're not thinking of, punching somebody so hard into a pit of acid so that their skull, like, bubbles up without skin. Like,
Correct.
they weren't going, this is something that can even happen. I don't think there was just the concept of this is something somebody would put and give to children.
nobody was.
No one
That's why
did.
it was so controversial.
That's
Yeah.
why it created the MSRB system.
Exactly. Yeah. They literally had to be like, oh, you can do this in games, so we have to literally tell people
Don't do this in
like
real life.
what it's gonna be. Like, they have these little coasters for Pokemon, but it's like they have to slap it with a little label that's like M for Mom. Don't buy this for your kid. You dumb idiots.
Only for children to still drag their parents to GameStop.
And I think
be
that made
like,
it more popular anyway.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's the fact that it's like the forbidden fruit. It's
Yeah.
that like a child can't just walk into a game store and just get a rated M game where you punch the spine out
And
or
so this is an
rip it
interesting
out.
fact. Like, I didn't even know about the rating system. I just remember one day going into like a GameStop to buy a game, and they wouldn't sell it to me because it was rated. So I brought my aunt in, so she would buy. Like, she would do it for me. And she's like, "What kind of game are you buying that you have to have an adult?"
Yeah.
And so, like, their minds go everywhere. But I'm like, "No, it's okay. It's just violent." Oh, okay, that's fine.
Oh, that's
No,
all.
but that was-
Are there anything showing? No. It's just
No, it's
pulling
just-
the spine out of them.
Yeah.
That's
At
So-
least your aunt was like concerned enough to like.
Oh yeah, no, she was like, "What
Ask.
are you asking me?" Like, "No, I swear it's something bad." I actually had the GameStop employee try to explain to her why it was rated. So like,
Oh,
she
they
got
actually
it from
took their time to like do that.
Yeah.
Most people
Yeah,
just
no.
want the sale.
oh no, they were really nice, my GameStop. So like,
Yeah.
they explained, "Here's why it's rated this," and then it was one of those. It's probably fine, and I'm like, my mom won't mind. It's okay.
Probably fine.
Because
Mine-
we'd never faced those rating systems before, and
Yeah.
as I say, I was playing Mortal Kombat at 4 years old. So really, by that time, the ship had sailed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was a Funko Land. Do you remember those?
A what?
It was there was like all these other small electronics stores that got bought out by GameStop. So like
Oh.
Electronics Boutique became
EB
EB
Games.
Games.
Yeah.
And then there was one called Funko Land, which was like, I mean, maybe it was because I was
Funko Man?
not this Funko. It was FUNCO. And maybe it was because I was living in Michigan at the time, so maybe we were just like super behind the times, or it's very obscure. But I don't remember. I don't come across too many people who remember Funko Land. But that was my thing. But they all got bought by GameStop, and they just gobbled them all up. But yeah, my similar story. My uncle secretly bought it like for him, even though it was like for us. And
Yeah.
we would play Mortal Kombat, and he would always play Sub-Zero, and I would always play Reptile, and I still love ninjas to this day. But I didn't want to pick Sub-Zero because I thought that was his character, and he would always beat me as Sub-Zero, and I would just practice like every night secretly, like learning the moves and stuff, and I eventually got to the point where I would beat him a lot as Sub-Zero, because I was like, oh, he's beating me, so this must be the best character in the
Yeah.
game. So I would pick Sub-Zero, I learned all the moves, I did a fatality on him, and he's like, I'm never playing this
Oh
with
my
you
gosh.
again. So that's how I got into
So
it.
this is what I wanted to ask you. So did you play with your sisters or your sibling?
No, at this time, my sister was like 2 years before being born, so
Oh,
it was
okay.
just me.
How about you? Did you play with your siblings or?
No, it was either my stepbrother or my half brother's family. Either way, I wasn't playing with anyone. I was definitely playing by myself. Like my earliest memories of Mortal Kombat were just me in a room, Cheetos, white shirt, and just like wiping
Recipe
it.
for disaster.
Yeah.
Huge recipe for disaster, and not knowing what the heck to do, which to me kind of gave me a disadvantage because there was no like challenge factor. Like when it got too hard for me, I could just give up. Versus you had a reason to work hard to beat someone or like have that like ongoing connection, which is why I don't
Yeah.
have, I think, as strong of a memory as you two do, because like I played it by myself. It probably got hard. I probably put it down and ate more Cheetos. So
Good choice. The cheapest part.
Yes.
Maybe not putting it down part. So what I was going to relate to that is like, and I guess this is with you and your uncle, like, I feel like when I was young, and this was with a lot of fighting games, your sibling would pick one character, and you would pick one character, and they are not allowed to either play that character or get better than you. Because
that's
like,
you.
if my brother took like Katana or Melina and beat me with it, I would have probably never played with him again. And I think for him, and this one made me a little upset, Sub-Zero was one of his, which I definitely secretly played. So, because Sub-Zero was so cool.
It's coming out now.
He always beat me with Sub-Zero. Like, he always pulled off the cool moves. Like, I thought Sub-Zero's moves were the coolest.
Yeah.
And
Literally.
then he also picked Shang Tsung, and I didn't care about because I hate Shang Tsung. I mean, in the movie he's awesome, and we can talk about that. But like, as a character, I just didn't like his play style. So I was like, no, you can have that one. I don't care.
He's definitely there's always a character in those old fighting games that would turn into the other characters.
Yeah.
Like in Tekken, it's Mokujin, the like wood guy who's like a random fighting style of one of the other characters.
And that was too complicated for my 4-year-old brain.
Yeah.
So I'm like, nope, I don't want that.
I would always like turn into. I think for an MK2 when you put, and we can talk about the movie actually, which is why we're here.
Yeah.
But you, as Shang Tsung, if you push block, I think 3 or 4 times you would turn into Katana.
Yeah.
So like if you literally were blocking too much, you would just turn into somebody and like, oh crap, and it would always throw me off.
Oh no, blocking.
I just want to say, blocking in video games, I've never understood that concept. So
That holds up to this
So you
day.
just like to get punched in the face.
no, I just don't block.
Yeah.
We'd have a whole different discussion about how that has influenced which games I play, but
We were talking about like how violent it was and how the ESRB was like made from this.
Yeah.
But so then like it's super popular, and what made Mortal Kombat what it was the violence. So then they were like, let's make a movie about this, but it's going to be PG-13.
Yeah.
We're not going to do anything that Mortal Kombat is known for, like the skull splitting and
So is
the
it
heart ripping.
really a Mortal Kombat game without
Movie?
Movie. Correct. Let me try that again. Cut. Is it really a Mortal Kombat movie without all the blood and like head ripping off, decapitation?
I mean, I guess you could say we've never had a proper. Well, there have been some animated ones recently, like this in the last couple of years. We've not had a proper R-rated violent Mortal Kombat film.
So if you're
Live
looking to like cast a Jade,
Hey.
let me know.
Well, they are making one
just realize that a fatality could happen to you.
in real life. They actually kill the actors.
Oh my god.
They'll edit that in post. It's fine. It's alright.
Yeah, they are making one. They're rebooting it. I think.
Also, offended. Why do you think I'm getting fatality on?
Well, I'm saying that if you play any character, there's a likelihood you may get fatality. Not just you.
Also,
I mean, we weren't talking about Andrew casted. Who would you be cast as?
I would always want to be Sub-Zero, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that tracks.
You could literally be anyone.
I assume you would want to be Melina.
I don't know. I love Melina. Katana's cool too.
Yeah. There's nobody with like
You
small
mean-
and bubbly like
Although
personality.
wait,
based
like
on
you.
last, Scarlett's pretty cool and I love her.
Yeah.
You mean you don't want to be Bo Raicho?
All right, let's not talk about him. Nah,
There is going to be a
that's different
fatality
video.
performed right now.
Yeah, if you talk about Borracho, let me perform one of his moves.
He's the worst.
He's so bad.
I'm so glad he's
so much.
canonically dead.
Wait, but
They-
to
not-
be fair,
not really, no.
Most of them
kind of
are.
spoiler, yeah.
Yeah.
Most of them are, so.
Most of them are canon.
But I
canonly
haven't
dead.
seen him come back, and I'm hoping that is a trend that sticks because I don't like him.
I know.
He's
He's
not-
one of those like 3D era kind of jokey characters. It's just kind of like.
He made me cringe.
Anyway.
So bad. Especially if I random selected it and picked him to play. I'm like, I hate everything. Time to uninstall. Wait, that's not how these worked.
I'm uninstalling my PS2 from my life.
Yes, uninstalling. Take out the window.
So the movie comes out. It's I don't know if it was that. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I don't know if it was that successful. It was successful enough to make a sequel, if that's what you can call Annihilation.
Usually,
So what
if
you
there's,
hate on that movie?
usually if there's a sequel
In
to
this-
a movie, they made
in this
enough of
video?
their money back that it was worth it to make another one. So it
Yeah,
was probably
it
successful.
probably did then. It would have had to have.
We have phones. Fact.
My phone is being used right now to record this.
They don't know that.
Well, now they do.
Well, now they do.
Spoiler alert: we're
know.
recording on a phone.
Hey, great segue. If you want to check out our Patreon, just for as little as $1 a month, you can support us actually having a camera to record stuff on. And then we can get more Funkos to customize into whatever character you want. And
Make like a cute little setup.
yeah. Anyway,
Or they could just supply us with more sharks.
Yeah.
we don't have enough sharks. They're my favorite
We each
animal.
get like one shark
no one
for
can
each
tell.
of the characters, like color code.
We don't like this
Shark Zero.
Whoa.
Hey.
one. We don't
Oh.
like that one. Anyway, moving on. So about this movie.
Do you
Why
want
don't
this
you
one?
go ahead and talk about the movie?
I'm not as experienced in the movie as you because I literally only watched it for the first time.
1.5 times.
2013, 14.
Yeah.
About that. So
And
I
it was
watched.
amazing, right?
No.
Amazing.
And it was the best thing you've ever
Best
seen,
thing.
right?
No.
And you love nothing but Mortal Kombat,
Right? Right?
I love nothing more than Mortal Kombat.
Excellent.
It's my favorite game
Correct.
and movie and franchise and memorabilia and accessories. I love Mortal Kombat.
Great. Nice. I know for me, one of my favorite things about the movie that ended up was how much stuff ended up being like either accepted as canon or retconned. Like Kano, the actress' performance, they loved it so much that they're like, okay, Kano is Australian now from this point on because the hello baby, did you miss me?
Oh my
Like
gosh,
the
that was-
ear to ear. Like he's such a scumbag, and I loved it.
You quoted that so well. I'm a little
I was
concerned.
doing it the whole time we were watching the movie, and I felt really bad because
Oh no, you're fine. It was.
we were watching it over Discord, and I just kept like as every line would come up, we both were like, "Save your pity for the weak."
Yeah.
At the end, I was like, yeah. Well,
Just the
Drown, I
fact
was
that
just
we
like,
quoted it together, I was like, oh, this is so good.
I know.
I don't have. See, I'm a little jealous and like a little bit left out because I don't have like the same memories or like connection as you two does
It's okay.
doing.
We can make a Kingdom Hearts video together.
Oh,
You
snap.
have the same emotional connection to that.
Yeah,
Well,
and I'll be the one that's like,
It's because I seen it semi recently, and it to me, an outsider who's not just in love with it, it was just a '90s movie.
yeah.
It
You kept
was-
saying when we were watching it, like, this is really 90s.
It's very '90s.
Yeah.
It was kind of predictable. Like I'm sure, like for its time, it was like this CG.
I want to
or
say I don't
these-
necessarily disagree with any of
Yeah.
that. It's just
It just wasn't. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't groundbreaking. Like I know the like Mortal Kombat lore and story like through you explaining
like-
all of it to me.
I feel like this is how we feel about the first, or I'm gonna say the first 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars. We're like, this is so good, and you're like, it's okay. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it was
It's a-
amazing.
It's a movie, but I saw it late, so
Right.
Yeah.
it
You
wasn't.
don't have the nostalgia factor.
yeah,
Yeah.
there is no nostalgia factor, like
See,
zero.
nostalgia, we can glance over any like glaring faults of it. We're just like, no, it's fine, it's great because this movie's so good. And you seeing it as for probably what it is, you're like, it's okay, and we're like, no,
No, you're
It's
wrong.
No, you don't
It's
understand.
It's not even that faulty, other
No.
than not having Jade in it. Just saying, biggest fault there.
Well, it was Mortal Kombat 1 time period, so she didn't come in until 3.
That's fine.
So that's why she comes in the second movie, and they made her Asian instead of black for some reason.
Which is fine, I guess. But
As long as they didn't make her white.
we don't talk about the Avatar movie
Or
Oh,
Ghost in the Shell, or Dragon Ball
or any of those things.
live action. I can't even remember what it's called.
Live
I like
Evolution.
to point out, as a nerd, I actually haven't seen most of those, and I don't feel
don't
the need to
need
change
to.
it.
It's okay.
In a weird way, I haven't either because a lot of those I either started or tried and then just didn't, which I feel
Definitely.
like is
Like I've
She's actually dead. She fatal. She harakiri'd herself.
Oh no!
Well, I don't know what to do now. It was a reverse Sonya. It was a kiss of life instead of a kiss of death. Wow. I know too much about Mortal Kombat.
talk about it. How much do you know about Mortal Kombat?
Oh, so many things. I will stick to the movie because I'll talk about the games forever.
How'd you feel about the lore as described by Katana in the movie?
What?
She gets almost everything right. They
Yeah.
didn't have much to go off of. Like you're saying, the games didn't have that much of a
Yeah.
story except for like a
Oh.
little block of text here and there.
The part
But-
where she was
She's like, my family is from Outworld, and
it's like
And they were overthrown.
no.
Yeah.
Or like I remember pausing like, wait, Andrew, how do you feel about that right now? Just
Yeah.
because I knew like inside well, first of all, that was the point where our Discord stopped working because I paused and I'm like, why is Andrew not commenting on the accuracy of the statement? I cannot imagine us sitting through, and then we found out we couldn't hear each other because then it was like, Andrew, I've been commenting about this lore for like the past 3 minutes and you haven't responded, so we had to backtrack so we could hear the complaints, but the loving complaints about.
But it was funny because on my side too, that was right after Liu Kang beats Reptile and he crushes him and he becomes a bunch of bugs for some reason. And I was thinking, like, why aren't you responding to all the gross bugs on screen?
Oh, believe me,
because you hate
I was.
bugs.
I absolutely was.
So,
I was mentioning I did not. Nope.
That's how we both knew that, like, we couldn't hear each other.
I was his bugs, you're not answering, and then mine is the lore, so.
Yeah, she says, like, oh, my family is from the rightful rulers of Outworld, and it's like, no, it's Edenia. I know no one actually cares, but I did like a lot of the stuff that they set up or expanded on from the games. Like, you do feel like the pressure of, like, this is the 10th tournament, they've won 9 in a row, Goro just, like, wiping the floor with people, and we were even saying, like, why aren't they just, like, why doesn't Shang Tsung just, like, challenge some random person and be like, hey, I challenge you to Mortal Kombat. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he was going out and getting the best. We were talking because he was like, oh, I need Sonya to be there because she's one of the best fighters. I'm like, if you really want to win, why are you actively bringing all the best fighters? Just let whoever shows up and then just win. Like,
that's
I feel
not
like
an honorable win.
You think Shang Tsung is honorable?
When did Shang Tsung become honorable?
Fair enough.
Well, we were, like, talking maybe, like, it does have to be the best fighters, or else it's not, like, a proper...
I think that was a theory we had.
Yeah, that was just
like,
headcanon.
Or I think you also said it was just about honor, that they're like, oh, we're so good that bring your best, we're gonna beat you anyway, so...
Yeah. Well, and you can kind of see that, like, Goro is super cocky. He's just, like, whatever on his throne, like, is it time yet?
And then his, like, disdain for Earthrealmers, he, like... I mean, he was talking to Kano, and Kano's really gross, so it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But, like, he was just like, Earthrealmers, whatever.
Yeah. I love we were talking about it a little bit, but the references that they took, not to go back to the games, but...
No, it's fine.
Everything's based on a game, so I guess it makes sense.
It all ties in, it's fine.
The references to that movie that they put all over MK11, like... The fact that you have Kerry Tagawa again as Shang Tsung, de-aged.
My nerd heart was I saw that and I'm like...
Yeah, or actually aged up for some of the skins, like, because he's the old version too.
So good. Like, I saw that, I was so excited because that's my canon Shang Tsung. Even though I said I don't I didn't like playing his character, that movie made me enjoy his character as a villain. It was so good, and like it's my canon face, and then it was in Mortal Kombat 11. I'm like... I still don't want to play you, but glad this is what's happening.
Yeah, or like in the crypt, which all takes place like on his island, Shang Tsung's Island.
Yeah, he's really
creatively named Shang Tsung's Island. There's that like Goro's Hall where there's like a big throne and there's like the feast set up and there's like the dead body of Kano like with the eye thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm not really sure why because he's alive in the game.
Well, I mean, if it's taking excerpts from different... And I have not been in this game, but from what you said, there's some time shenanigans in there, so really you could justify anything when time shenanigans happen. Yeah.
So. That makes sense for why Spawn and Terminator and Joker
exactly.
in it
Listen,
too.
It doesn't need to follow logic once you include time travel. That's why every game at some point, we have a plot hole. Time travel, done.
Yeah. Speaking of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like,
We're going to stay on subject.
Okay. What aside from aside from it being the most, are you unmarrying me?
I'm taking this.
Okay.
For this one.
Oh.
Well, you're gonna have to get that resized.
Yeah.
You can fit your whole hand in that.
Oh gosh, it's not pink enough.
It doesn't even fit on my thumb.
Oh darn! I guess
you're gonna have to marry Andrew.
No.
To you, Andrew.
I guess.
Wow.
I mean. Anyway, we got married again. Yeah. We've been gushing, but what I want to know from like your
feeble brain.
No.
Inferior mind.
Hey, just because you have self-deprecation, don't put that on him.
It's fun to watch.
Your limited fandom in general about Mortal Kombat. Like when we watched it, like did it make you like any of the characters more, or the story any more or less?
Nope, like, not to make it very simple, but it
Go for it.
kind of just felt like a 90s movie based on a video game. Not to compare it to, like, the Mario one.
How dare you compare it to the Mario one?
Again,
Like-
I have not been. My brain has not been sullied with whatever this
Like,
was.
it's not similar at all, but, like, the same way, like, they just, like, another piece of media exists and they try to put in a different brand. Like, it just kind of felt like they were taking something that already existed. It was like, let's make more money off of it in a different way, which is, like, a little bit more unfamiliar because, like, Mortal Kombat has always been a video game and, like, you know, like, I don't know, I think it was a gamble. And, like, it was a decent gamble. Like, again, you didn't really look up like how successful it was. So, like, I mean, successful enough that two nerds are very passionate about
It's
it.
a cult movie for sure. I mean, it's definitely become like a fan favorite.
But yeah, with my limited knowledge, like, it didn't. I was just watching a movie.
I'm a little sad.
I'm sorry.
No.
Tell me about your grandfather's reception to taking you to that. Actually, we didn't talk about that. You went to the movie theater. Didn't you say your grandfather took you?
No, I never saw it in theaters, which makes me really sad because I've kept every movie stub of every movie I've seen
okay.
since I think '99 was the first one.
Oh.
So, and in '95 I was 6. So,
Okay. I thought you said somebody took you to watch it and was like, what?
no, I think I have watched it around like my grandparents,
okay,
and they were
okay.
like, what? Actually, my
Which I don't know why they would even raise an eyebrow because it's not that bad.
I know it's PG-13,
I
but
mean,
It's just
for
like
being
a,
as
it's
young,
like a glorified kung fu movie.
I mean, a guy gets frozen and shattered.
Honestly, like, we talked about this, that could have been much worse.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, the Resident Evil laser scene, it could have been like that, and it wasn't. And I appreciated that I did not see something like that as a 5-6-year-old, whatever
I don't
it
even
was.
know what this one's talking about.
Don't worry
so-
about it. It's gross, and
Yeah,
maybe someday we'll show you.
we'll just show you the scene just on its own. It's.
Right.
It's another video game movie.
I was gonna
we
say
can
that,
talk
that
about.
was a decent video game movie. There's not many of them.
I liked it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I liked it, and then the second one came out, and I was like, I like this a little bit less. And then every time after that, I was like, I just don't care anymore.
Got a lot of, it got
see how
difficult.
you guys just said, I liked it,
Yeah.
and you didn't gush? That's me for
Well,
this.
because that came out later in our lives where there wasn't as much nostalgia to it. And I actually never...
Exactly. So
Don't-
maybe this movie, to prove
No.
my
Don't use my
point-
logic against me.
So you heard that, right?
No.
You heard nothing.
Unrecord.
Unrecord.
Cut it out.
We heard that, right?
Delete the internet.
The Resident Evil movie was not as good of a movie. It was a movie because it didn't have enough nostalgia
Okay,
factor.
I do want to clarify one point about it. What also for me is I didn't play the Resident Evil games. I only saw the movies.
Same.
So like I didn't connect to the video games, although honestly it doesn't like Mila Jovovich's character isn't in the Resident Evil games,
No,
right?
no.
So like
See,
I liked it because of her.
See,
It's like the universe.
Hold on.
Yeah, go
That
for it.
also just proves my point too, because I also did play Mortal Kombat before
Yeah, you
2000.
did.
I mean, like not as hard as you. Like I
Wow.
played.
You played it one time for a couple periods.
like an
Yeah.
afternoon for a couple, like several hours, and maybe like another one. Oh, was it Shaolin Monks for like an hour or
love that
two?
one.
But it was never my game. So did I really play Mortal Kombat?
Whereas we played it in our free time, like as a
Exactly.
All
choice.
the time.
Yeah,
So
we're like,
I did not until meeting you, until playing Mortal Kombat 9, and then you showed me the movie. Same thing
Yeah.
with Resident Evil. You didn't play the game, you have no nostalgia for it, so it was just a good movie. So you guys just explained Mortal Kombat for me, my experience. Thank you, friends.
I'm leaving this.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done.
You can finish up the episode by yourself.
Yeah.
So anyway, transitions are a thing.
Shark Attack.
Transitions are a thing. Mortal Kombat.
I don't know what you want me to say. I loved it a lot. I thought making Liu Kang like the sassy kind of
Oh,
character
yeah,
was
like
really
that.
funny. Like he throws Johnny Cage's bag off
Yeah.
the boat, and he's like, "Oh, thank God I didn't have to park the car."
I know. But I just love the sass in
Yeah.
there. Like,
It's so funny because that's
Yeah.
one of the things that they never like brought into the games. Like,
oh yeah, yeah.
They brought Johnny Cage because in the first Mortal Kombat game, he was like, well, I guess by the time the movie came out, 1 and 2 were out. So like, he wasn't all that like of a ham, like cheesing it up, like super. But then you have freaking Lyndon Ashby in the movie just being like, he steps off the boat with all his bags and just like eats it, and he's like going up the stairs and they all fall, and he's like, oh, no more steps, and he's just like this bro.
Yeah.
And they just totally like hamming it up, being an actor. Everyone thinks like his stuff is fake.
He's just the normal guy that just showed up in this place with no concept of what's about to happen, and he just doesn't get it, and it's just very good.
One of the things that I've always loved about this series was you actually sent me this post one time that was like, this is why I love Mortal Kombat. It's basically like you're a kid playing like with all your toys. And there's there's ninjas, there's special forces agents, there's demons and centaurs and vampires and gods and a cop whose special power is gun. And it's just like this mishmash of things. Like, but it works because of the whole like merging realms and like.
And I know you said your sisters were like different ages than you, but like even me and my brother, we played with our stuff. We had Godzilla and Barbies and Transformers and Power Rangers all fighting. And that's basically what this game is. It just ties them together in a really awesome way that I love. And so like you can play all those different kinds of things you like doing, and it has somewhere in the lore, you know, feasibility. You know, they did. It's there.
But it doesn't feel all that like absurd.
No.
When you see like there's a Shaolin monk and a special forces girl and an actor like all fighting like these giant four-armed guys and like demon sorcerers and stuff, like it just still feels like it makes sense for some reason.
Yeah, to a certain point, I'd say. The movie, it was a little, I mean, I didn't really think about this as a kid, so great job. Didn't have to worry about that. But like when you start thinking, okay, so as far as we know from the movie, Liu Kang, I mean, he's the chosen one, but he's just a normal human. Then he has a fireball at the end. You know what? Let's suspend disbelief, because as a kid, that's awesome.
And he does the bicycle kick for like 5 minutes
Oh
straight.
yeah, we talked about that. I'm like, out of all the things that I can imagine in my brain, in the video game it looked fine. In the movie, I was like, my brain can't suspend disbelief to be like, oh, the magic made that happen. And it wasn't just some awesome like martial arts move that you can do. I'm like, but in the games it looks normal. Like it just flows. Yeah. But in the movie I was like, as a kid I could suspend disbelief when we watched it last night or the night before. I was like, all right, my brain is gonna pause me right there and be like, come on now.
It's also the effects of the time of it. Like you can
so
definitely tell that there's like a cord holding him up. And like when he kicks Reptile out the wall, he's just kind of like very clearly just doing like backflips. Anyway,
sorry.
I feel that we were like totally taking over the whole thing, and I know that's
why I didn't want to be in the middle.
No,
because I had a feeling I was like,
we're almost just like trying to sell you on it.
What about all the research that you did into like the actors and the fighting sequences and the injuries? You stopped. You're like, so this is what happened in here, and I'm like, oh wait, really? They actually got hurt? Like, yeah. I mean, it's not beyond disbelief that would happen, but it's just, again, not something you think about, and you're like, oh, this happened, this person was injured, but they kept making the movie, so I'm like, oh, gee.
And I think that's just like a martial arts thing. Like stunt people are like nuts. And honestly, like I've been saying this forever, but I really want there to be a stunts category in the Oscars, because like they put in so much work and literally put their bodies on the line. Like what I was saying, like I feel like I was stopping every 5 minutes and being like, oh yeah, he broke 2 ribs there being thrown up agained the wall. Like, oh yeah, he bruised his kidney and was peeing blood after being kicked in the side.
You did say that. I remember I was like, ugh.
Oh, jeez.
And I do want to say, the fact that we're cringing at, oh, he got kicked so hard that he's just peeing blood, and the game we have fatalities and spines being ripped out, you just see the level of...
I know.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Because, like, we play MK11 together, and it's just, like, some of them were just like, oh, man, that was crazy, and some of them were like...
you can, like, because we talk on Discord when we do it, and you can just hear us go, oh, I didn't need to see that, and I'll tell you, I'm like... I don't need to see that, but also it's really cool, but
pulling somebody's blood out of your body and making spears out of them and just stabbing them into them, and then their eyeball pops out.
Oh yeah.
With the
Anything
optic
with
nerve.
intestines in it, that's what kills me for. I'm like, oh, I cannot. That's a piece of your body I never needed to see outside of your body.
I know, like Jade's one where she just stabs you with the staff and you're hanging from it, and she just cuts you in half, and the
She just
intestines
spins
just
your
like,
body.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyway.
So 4-year-olds should play this
So,
game. No,
I was gonna
4-year-olds
say,
should not
so
play this
back
game,
when-
but 4-year-olds did play this game because I can attest to this.
And I turned out fine.
Oh my gosh.
We all turned out
Let's
fine.
not have that debate.
I know. Well, my mother spanked me as a kid. No,
We're not going there.
Yeah. Hopefully somebody, like one of our viewers, resonates with this stuff and is like, wow, I never thought about it that way. Or like, I also love this. Or
Yeah.
I also pee blood because I got kicked in the kidneys.
Wow.
And not to plug anything else, but when I was talking to you about Mortal, like when you and I discovered we had a mutual love for Mortal Kombat, I'm like, wait, somebody else is willing to talk to me about this,
Same.
and then you're like, oh
There's
yeah, by the
always
way, I
someone
own
willing to
all of
talk.
these things. I have all the systems. You want to play? And I'm like, when? Let's do this.
I think
And then
I think you came over that weekend
yeah,
too.
and then you told me about not to plug anybody else's stuff, but Mortal Podcast, and I was like,
Yeah.
wait, there's a podcast all about Mortal Kombat, and I'm like, click, let's
Yeah.
go find this out. Somebody's just gonna talk about this game that I love.
Dan
Yeah.
Meckler, what's up? You want to be on our show? We have probably a fraction of your viewers, but I would love to
Yeah,
talk to them though.
No, but it was cool because I hadn't had many friends who were gonna be like, oh yeah, I want to talk about Mortal Kombat, and I will spend hours just talking about each thing that's ever happened in
Yeah.
here and the consistency or not, or favorite characters or experience. Even this was really cool. So I think this will
Sounds like we need to get you some new friends.
where you can just.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Why are
You
you
are the
getting
friends.
mad?
You are the friends.
Why
that
are
was
you
the point.
getting mad? No, because she said that she didn't have any friends to
I
talk
know.
about Mortal Kombat with. And I'm like, you need new Mortal Kombat friends.
I mean, I guess.
It's just not something that comes up in conversation. We
Yeah.
only
That
figured
was
it.
the joke.
I know. We only figured it out because we were doing fighting game nights.
Yeah. It was so funny. You were like, I think maybe I have a copy of it somewhere. Like, I have to dig out my Sega. And I'm like, mine's still plugged into my TV.
And I was like, wait, yes.
So, and then you're like, oh yeah. I was like, oh, did you ever play like Shaolin Monks? And you're like, no. And I was like, oh, you gotta come over.
Yes.
You were like, oh well, like, do you have a copy of it still, or what system is it even
Yeah,
on?
I
I'm
gotta
like,
stop
"Yeah,
asking
I-
that question.
I do."
Do you have this?
Yeah, but usually it's
Yeah.
yes. But the movie, it's really good, really solid. That was the first like martial arts movie
Yeah.
that I really saw, because like around that time, like Jackie Chan was just starting to become a thing. Like I think Jackie Chan's First Strike came out within maybe a couple of years of that. So like he was not on my radar.
So, for me at that time, and I honestly don't even remember the content of these movies, but my grandmother watched Bruce Lee all the time.
Yeah.
And so I saw those movies. I can't remember if they're good, bad, or anything, but that. And this is why I actually ended up getting the movie, because like she would watch those all the time, and so buying us Mortal Kombat didn't seem like a problem, and so we watched that too.
So you
I mean, Liu Kang is basically Bruce
See,
Lee.
you say it's a good movie, but I honestly think it's like a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
6 or 7.
As a movie, I can agree.
Yeah, like as,
Yeah.
as like a movie and like
Standalone?
not knowing.
Not as a property or an
Oh,
adaptation.
then like a 4 or 5. Sorry.
What?
The only
I'm
tie-in
making a face,
that
you just can't
makes
tell.
the only tie-in I feel like, in my opinion, that makes it like so passionate for you two is nostalgia and the fact that there is a game that exists for it. And for me, who was introduced to both, like correctly, the games, like I don't think I should count like a couple times I played at someone else's house.
No.
I count the ones where I'm sitting in your bedroom on the floor and you're like, okay, we're gonna get through the Mortal Kombat 9 story because we're watching the movie next week. Like
Not
someone,
that those things are related at all.
but still, you were introducing me and like educating me on the lore and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So I like played the games, started understanding the lore and relationships, and then watched the movie. Like basically all at the same time, and like you kind of need both. It is impossible, just that impossible. It is possible, but like I feel like if my mom watched Mortal Kombat the movie, she'd be like, "What the."
Well,
I'd
that's
say-
interesting you say that, because
Yeah.
my mom would watch it with me, and she actually really liked it. And
But
it was
she
really
just
hard.
loves you.
No. No, it was really hard for me to, like, get her to watch things that I like. There was two things, and you're gonna roll your eyes. There was two things on this earth that my mom would consistently watch with me. Everything else she'd be like, oh, whatever, I don't care. Or I'd try to get her to play games with me, and she'd be like, whatever. Two of those things, one was Mortal Kombat, and the other was Beast Wars.
Okay, question though. Do you think that adds to your reason why you liked it so much because you got to bond over it?
And nostalgia.
Maybe.
And
It's
song.
nostalgia is a
like
huge
I bonded
thing.
with my brother. Like we played all the time, so it's a connection I have with him.
Yeah.
That like I established very young, and so
See, so that's the missing link I don't have.
you didn't share it with anybody like at an emotional point. I mean,
Yeah.
not saying it's huge.
I
like,
think playing it with my uncle was more than
Yeah.
like watching the movie with my mom, because that was just like few and far between.
It seems like it's nostalgia. You guys owned the games
yeah.
and had a family tie to it, which made all three ingredients needed
The things that you didn't have.
of things that I didn't have, and the
Yeah.
reason why I'm not gushing as much as you lovely people.
That makes sense.
So
I mean, it's a whole.
sorry, I'm being
the whole-
quiet. I'm sorry, I'm the one in the middle. I
No,
think
no.
I should
Hey, you're
be-
fine.
It's all about this whole
Away.
thing
It's all
is
about
just seeing
it's your experience.
your experience and like where
There's
it was.
no wrong
And,
way to experience it.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, movies are art. Like, art is subjective. Like,
cheesy.
You as artists.
yeah, right.
Movies are.
They are. It's
I know.
It
I know.
literally is. So like, people take things and digest them, and it affects them in different ways. So the fact that like you didn't have all these things that like we have stacked on stacked on stacked of like reasons why we like loved it is exactly why it just kind of hit you and like hit your consciousnly, and you were just kind of like, yeah,
And they
it's a
kind
thing.
of it just kind of left.
Yeah.
It didn't stay.
I have a lot
Like,
of things that
you guys
I'm
are
like that.
quoting the movie. I'm like, how?
Your soul is
We
mine.
watched it so much.
Not.
That's
You're entitled
fine.
to your opinion.
It,
You
as a
even call it
movie,
wrong opinion.
I know it was real hard not to, but I
That's
respect your opinion. I don't
such
have to agree with it, but you can say it.
also it's totally not your thing. Like, you like fluffy frou-frou Kingdom Hearts. Yes, I actually, you know what? I'm more surprised that you were into it than
Literally
she was.
wearing a Hello Kitty shirt.
Pink everything, gobs in pink, cute pink shark,
Candy and fluffy
pink
pretty
hair.
stuff.
Yeah,
So you can't even begin to say that. I mean, I'm wearing a unicorn that has like a ice cream
So what was
cone.
actually really interesting to me that you say that is after we started playing, like I told my friend about fighting game night, and like, oh, what do you play? And we're like, oh, we play Dead or Alive, we play Naruto, of course, and I'm like, and Mortal Kombat. He's like, wait, you play Mortal Kombat? And then we went to Swiss. He's like, what other games do you play that I don't know about? Because like, so it was really shocking to them too. So I thought that was
yeah.
like
Girls
when you said
play
that.
video.
That
Well,
was
no,
my.
it wasn't that. It was the type of video game. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's used to me saying, "Oh my God, Kingdom Hearts is the best. Final Fantasy is the best," and then just, "Oh yeah, playing this game where you rip people's heads and spines out of their body." So, and he's like, it was just
Don't
funny
play
because
Barbie.
Well,
Dream
we've
House?
also got plans to
Hey,
play Halo soon.
don't
So like,
don't challenge the Barbie games because like the makeup
Who-
game,
who are you?
Barbie Hairstyler, that was a good game.
Who are you telling about girly games? It's girl games.
it's girl games.
You know what? You, me, and our friend should talk about girl games.
Thunder. Hear the thun- It's Raiden.
Yeah, he's so
Raiden?
excited about this video.
Raiden approves. Speaking of Raiden, we've been making fun of Christopher Lambert all weekend, just going like,
Oh, gosh, that killed it. I like
you were cringing
every
so
line. I was
hard.
so cringing. I'm like, oh, can you not?
I
Oh,
know.
all your laughs are so awkward.
I kind of like him, but yeah, he's very awkward. Just the whole like, what are you going to do about them? It's just like, oh.
I mean, me and my brother would quote that. I don't think so. I'm not
I
even
don't
trying to do
think
the
so.
accent because I can't.
I don't
but,
even
like,
know what it is. Like, is it French? Because like I've heard his last name Lambert pronounced as Lambert. Like, is it French? Is
I
it Canadian?
don't know. I just know we would quote that line.
I'll text him and
Laugh
ask.
so. Oh, okay, yeah.
Chris, you know, I'll just drop a comment. Where are you from? What is your accent? And then we'll talk
yeah.
another time.
But wait, if you're gonna text him, that means you're close enough to have his number. Shouldn't you just know that answer?
I mean, he
Stop
watches all our
calling out the
videos.
flaws. Shh.
I'm just the wet blanket of the group.
Clearly.
Logic.
I will say I do not like thunder though. So
Yeah. I know.
It's okay. I'm here.
Because she's a widow baby.
Wait. Okay. But yeah, so we were talking about like the one-liners and the just
Yeah,
awkward.
it's a very cheesy like '90s movie, but like
Yeah.
the martial arts was really solid. They got people who like I think almost everyone did their own stunts. Like I know Robin Shu, who was Liu Kang, like they basically went to China and were like, that guy's gonna be Liu Kang, and they like recruited him. And like obviously, Kerry Tagawa as Shang Tsung
I hope he's
crushed
that
it.
sassy in real life.
That's
That's why she didn't know. I hope that is his sass level.
Then we had like I think her name's Bridget Nielsen, who was the love interest in Billy Madison, was Sonya, that made it a little awkward for me because I'm like all I can keep seeing is
I was
back
wondering
to
where I
school.
recognized her, but I saw Mortal Kombat first. So.
Yeah.
But like now that you said that, nah.
Yep.
Connections firing.
I was gonna say when we were talking about like the crossovers from the game, one of the things I didn't say is in like real life crossovers was in the reptile fight. There's like a code on the wall that you could in MK3 you could put the. Do you remember on the versus screen where you push the buttons and it would like cycle through the little icons?
I have a vague idea.
It would start off as like a bunch of MK logos, and then depending on what button you push, it would change to like a yin yang or a.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that.
So there was a code for that. I forget what the code did, but like it was in the actual Mortal Kombat movie. Was like on the wall, and so you could like write it down and go and play Mortal Kombat and put the code in. And I was just like, that's such a cool thing. I didn't find that until like the past year or so, but
yeah.
But the acting was good, the fighting was good, the music was good, the lore. They somehow made this like bonkers story, like they made it somewhat cohesive and
That wonderful ending.
We gotta compare because I don't remember it. It's the next one's is the next movie Annihilation?
yeah.
Okay, so we gotta compare the lore about Sindel and like the Outworld with the lore from this movie. Cause I don't know if it's consistent because I thought it was.
I
thought they mentioned. Okay.
From what
I haven't seen the second
From what I remember,
Maybe
because in Mortal Kombat
Movie
3, in
why
in MK3, because Annihilation's not as good. I love it because it's Mortal Kombat.
Well, I
It's got
instantly am gonna like
Melina
it
in it,
more.
doesn't it?
What
Annihilation?
have what?
Doesn't it have Melina in it?
Yes.
So of course.
Melina's
And Jade.
And so
the incorrect
listen, if we're
race
gonna
Jade.
get her to love Mortal Kombat, more than she already did. I like what you just did there.
Hey,
that was
finisher.
really well. Is it friendship?
Yeah.
Friendship.
Friendship again.
I forgot what I was gonna say, but
Didn't mean to love the
Yeah.
second one.
oh yeah.
Melina's in it.
No,
That ending.
capturing
Jade's in
the lore because I was curious
I
how they because based on the lore in the first one, how Sindel plays into it because.
in the
movies, they're like, they killed my parents and adopted me. So
Oh yeah.
But
they
then-
slightly retcon because I think
Yeah,
in
that's-
in Annihilation they do say Edenia.
yeah, because that's why I was calling like, but if they don't reference it anyway, if they
Yeah.
didn't reference it in the first second,
I think it's the same as the opening of MK3 does say a little. I can picture the like Sindel and like
Yeah.
just the world, and it's something about like her. She had like she was like the barrier between realms or something. So like when she died, then Shao Kahn couldn't invade Earth, and then that's why he resurrected her. And like
You
that.
know what? Instead of us guessing, how about we watch it?
I guess we'll have to do a
then
follow-up
different
video.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like let's not
Get
guess.
lots of
on
alcohol.
what the second one is.
Alcohol. Since we're on the subject of like Sindel and Katana and Melina, I just have a question for the
The audience.
no, not the
the
audience,
panel.
the creators who are obviously listening to this. How come Katana didn't wear blue in the entire movie? And I think you asked
know,
this question.
yeah.
It bothered me so much after you said that. I'm like, that was like her palette. Everybody else is
It
stuck with their
still
colors.
is.
Yeah.
Why is she wearing no blue
No
in that?
blue,
Where's
no
no
mask.
fans? Like, okay, mask for the video or for the movie
guess,
because she
yeah.
talks a lot, which I'm glad because it wasn't just a nameless character. Like,
Use the element which brings life.
yeah, that. All right, listen.
And then she shows up again and just
just
to like
watches.
stare at him. Then he hears it again in his head because that's what she said to him 5 seconds ago. Anyway,
But no fans, no
Yeah.
like no blue. Like, what was the concept for that?
really awkward fight that she has with Liu Kang, where they're kind of like slow mo,
And I
like
don't, what is the time frame for like the Mortal Kombat tournament. How long does this take? Because like from the movie, and again, as a child, didn't matter. Now it does. She looks at him when he walks in.
Yeah.
She just like the slow nod. Then Johnny has this whole thing.
Yeah, when a woman looks like you like that, it usually means something.
Okay, they don't talk at all. Then they fight, and she says like 2 phrases to him when they're trying to like, well, not really kill each other. We said that like that battle was the one of them. Like all of them are all like really high energy fighting, and they're like
to the death.
Here, I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna fake this.
I'll put you on the ground and say
and then I'm gonna talk to you.
Cryptic thing.
Yeah, and so that was the only talk. And then by the end of the movie, like when they're walking out, yay, everything's good.
They're best friends.
They're best friends. Their arms around each other, laughing and giggling, like, oh yeah, we're great.
Let's go home.
Yeah. So I'm like, I feel like it, like Mortal Kombat, it basically has them like together-ish, and there was no development. And I know some movies do that, but I was like, where did this come from?
Maybe it was cut. Maybe there's an Anderson
We have
cut of
deleted
Mortal
scenes.
Kombat.
Is there deleted scenes of their love story?
I don't know. I would love to have this all fleshed out.
We should probably start wrapping.
Yeah, that's going for like an hour, so
Oh God.
that's longer than I thought.
I mean, listen, we could still talk a lot more about this movie.
I know. We literally have not even to record, a date planned to just talk about Mortal Kombat lore.
I mean, I feel like
We
it's
do?
gonna have to be several. We do. I mean, you can be a part of
You're
that.
going to be the
welcome.
third wheel in this this interaction.
So the knowledge. The point was this date, which you are invited to, but it's more for Andrew to fill me in on all the stuff I missed because I went from Mortal Kombat 2 to some parts. I might have heard the rest, but then I went to, I think it's Deadly Alliance, then Deception,
Yeah.
and then like skipped MK 9 and 10, and then came back at 11, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, there's kids. When did
Combat
that happen?
kids.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you said combat kids. I'm like, I mean, cool. I support. Like, I play Fire Emblem. I love seeing future
Yeah, that's what you're
children
saying.
and offspring coming out. But like, it's like now I need to go back and play. And we found looking, I'm like, oh, I do have MK9. It's just that I had nobody to play it with, so I didn't bother. And then that was how we even got into this because I didn't have Mortal Kombat 11, and then you told me, oh, I have it and I'll play. And I'm like, I'm buying it. I have somebody to play with. This is the best day ever.
Oh, I know, that made me so happy.
So you're gonna have a lower day party.
You are
Lower day
invited.
party.
I'm not
To
cheating
be
on
fair,
you.
Like,
everybody in the
fine.
Discord was invited to it.
This
I
is
said
true.
anybody wants to come and you can
Fair.
listen and fangirl or fanboy or
Fan person.
fan person over this with us.
Oh, we're so inclusive.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you for sharing your passions at me.
We kind of did. We were like, oh my god, this movie's
Did you
so
hear
good. Mortal
about this?
Kombat's so
Oh, it's the
awesome.
best
I am
movie.
literally the Oreo in this situation of Mortal Kombat references.
I mean, yeah.
And I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize.
just
not.
You all have
It's
your own
not
experience.
that great.
It
but
kind of
I
ended up being an
enjoy-
experience share.
Listen,
Yeah, this is an experience share.
if you said the video games weren't that great, we might have a different discussion.
No, I wouldn't dare lie to you.
Oh, I get a hug for that. But you can have your opinion on this movie. You can have your opinion on anything. But this movie, no, I understand. If I hadn't seen it recently, like, yeah, cool, it's a movie.
It's a.
But I'm like, but Katana and Sonya and the sassy Liu Kang.
Sassy Liu Kang.
Sassy
is the
Liu
best.
Kang.
He's not sassy in the next one. I'm remembering now thinking about it.
Shut up.
Sorry, I spoiled that.
Prelude. Okay, listen. This is the
Shut
segue into the next video, which will be
Next week.
In
yeah.
5
I mean,
minutes.
it will really be how your first experience with the movie will be fresh in your mind, and then it
Yeah.
will be your first experience. And now that you have a love for some of these characters through the game already, now you can reflect and be like, oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
can be passionate about
You're
it.
like, wow, they really made Jade dumb.
Oh, stop
What?
talking.
I've already told you this.
No, we're done. We're breaking up.
This is like the 5th time I'm taking my ring off, and I'm not picking it up
So
this
you know
time.
what'd be great? Jeez. You can make the next Jade be better in the next movie.
Yeah,
You
when
can
they cast
redeem-
you.
reprise this role. Or
I'm
redeem
still
this
offended that he just tinked that thing, yeeted it across
It's
the room.
tungsten carbide. It's not gonna.
Hey, listen. How many times have you given me your wedding ring?
Given,
So-
not yeeted.
All right.
Gently gave to someone else versus. Anyway,
So at the end of the second movie, when everyone dies,
we're done.
kidding.
We're gonna
when they explained that Mortal Kombat was not actually supposed to be a fighting tournament, it was a hug party, and they all failed.
See, I started to believe you for like most of that. We're done, so we need to have a closer. I'm gonna close it. So, thank you for joining us, friends. It's been Andrew, Driana, and Reset. And any closing remarks from you, and then you, and then no more spoilers.
Go watch Enter the Dragon because it's basically the same movie.
Or counterpoint, I'm here. We can go play some Mortal Kombat 11.
And I can play too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can yell at me to do Jade's combos right.
Yeah.
I'm
So
losing.
we're gonna be starting up a Twitch stream. Oh wait, no, we're not because we don't have that set up yet. So one final time, I will say, if you are feeling in a generous mood and like listening to us talk about Mortal Kombat and anything, we do eventually want to get Twitch stuff going so we can play the games that we're talking about while we're talking about them. There's a lot of hardware and setup for that. So if you would be so kind, check out our Patreon. Give us a little bit of your hard-earned money, even in these uncertain times. I know it's really hard. But we are a fairly new channel, and we're just still trying to get everything going, as you can tell, because we clearly don't have our stuff together. But I enjoy doing it, and that's really what it's all about. So thank you for coming on this journey with us.
Yeah, and would
Thanks
you
for
like,
having us.
Would you like to us to plug you down below or
No, I'm good. I'm good.
No social
She will
medias?
remain in the shadows as the ninja that she is.
All right, we're just leaving you as Pink Ninja. You're
Smoke bomb!
This is our
Smoke bomb.
Melina.
Pink smoke.
All right.
Gonna do that teleport thing.
Yeah.
This teleport kick that I spam on you.
Oh, Melina!
So good.
All right,
All
see you,
right.
friends.
See ya.
Bye. Take this soot.